Sairam. Now we are in the part 5 video of how to create a edit form. In this particular video, we are going to see how to populate or load the edit information of the employee. Okay. So actually we are working on the employee form. So we need to load the existing information of the employee so that any changes required, the user will know the existing value. Once he sees the existing value, then only he will take a call whether changes is required or not. Okay. So without that information, the edit is not possible. So we need to populate the required information, that employee information or whatever the information that we want to edit has to be populated in the text box, grid or drop down, whatever required we need to do. Okay, fine. So for that, we need to create the Excel in the name employee edit load API JS function version 7.29, and the function name is correspondingly, the PHP name. PHP name is correspondingly given like that, and the function name is employee edit JS function, and the unique value is employee edit list. That's it. So these are the primary information required for the Excel. So we can create the Excel, and obviously this is going to be a new Excel. You cannot copy this from anything else because this is the, as per the ad is concerned, this particular Excel is not there, right? So in the edit form, it is going to be a new form, new Excel that we need to create. Okay, so the Excel is this one. So the name of the Excel is given, the name of PHP is given, and of course file, we directly go to the JavaScript part, and the function name is given. Okay, the main tag name. So what is the main tag name? Here we need to specify is the API which we created in the part 2 video of the, right? So because that we need to specify, we'll go back to the report part. So this is the main tag we need to use in the Excel, right? Right. Okay. In the main tag name, this has to be, and obviously the path is same, server path is same, and you need to fill the unique value, call function flag, as well as this one. Both the things has to be filled up. Okay. Right. Now there is one more change is required. The employee edit function. This particular function need to be called in the previous sequence. What is that previous sequence? Is in DDL. So we need to update this in the DDL part. So once you go here, you could see Control J, JS. Okay. So here we need to call the employee edit JSFNS dot, the function. Okay, employee edit JSFNS function. Okay, because as per the algorithm, that you should always check with the algorithm. After the employee DDL is done, we need to call this particular edit JS function. So this should be called once this is completed. That is the process we have, which you are already familiar with, right? Okay. So that part we need to do, that is also done. Right. Now we will carry on with the edit load API. Okay, fine. So the next part is the parameter, API parameter. What is the API parameter? Is employee ID. Why employee ID need to be given? Because we added a new parameter called employee ID, EMP ID. This parameter need to pass a value to the API to list the information, because you are going to list out the specific employee information, right? So in that case, you should add the employee ID, and this employee ID has to be added in the parameter. How do you call that parameter? Because this is main tag name followed by the API parameter. That's it. And what is the object name? Employee ID. Okay, what is here the object name meant for? Okay, that we should know. You remember that we added a parameter to the form. Okay, you remember that one? Let me show you. We added a parameter here. Yes, employee ID. So this is the parameter getting passed through the URL, and this particular parameter is passed to the API. This particular parameter is passed to the API. Okay, that is the employee ID. So this information, what is the object name? From where the see, now you understand what is the tag name. Tag name here refers to the API. So we are passing a parameter called EMP ID to a main tag. Okay, API. Where do you get this EMP ID? I get that EMP ID from the URL where you pass on the information. Where do you pass on the information? Here. Here I am passing the employee ID. Here ID specifies is nothing but employee ID. So the number 32 is passed through the URL, and from the URL, it reaches the function name. That is how it comes up here. Okay. From the object name, it reaches the tag name. And from the tag name, it goes to the API, and the function is called, and the population of the data happens. So is this clear? How the process is worked out. And what is this object name? Object name is nothing but hidden. It is an hidden object, right? Okay. So now we need to enable the assign object. Why assign object is need to be need to be used? Because we are going to use the main forms. For example, see these informations like employee name, address, mobile, email, and previous CTC, date, department, all these information need to be filled, and these are part of the main table, and this status is going to be part of the subtable. Okay, or data table or child table. Okay, so we need both the information. Assign object also required, and assign object and the table is also required. Both information are required. So initially what we are going to do, assign form object true is made true, and employee info. What is this employee info? Where do you get that employee info? It is nothing but your data, I mean the output of the API. So output of the API is here. Okay. It is showing something different. So, okay. Let me show you. Or we will let me populate. Let me populate this one, then you will get to know. So this is the information that we get it from the once you call the API. So the API test is here. Once you call this particular API with the employee, this is what internally it is happening. So we are calling this API where the employee ID is passed as a URL. The 32 is passed as a URL, and it reaches the API part, and that is called, and this information is, we got this particular information. Okay. And the information looks like this. Okay. Where the employee info, there are going to be two tables. One is employee info and the other one is employee status. So employee status can have multiple rows. That is the purpose of the child table. Okay. So child table can have multiple rows. And the employee information is going to be a single table. Okay. Because that's a parent table. Okay. Now, what are the information available here need to be populated in the objects. So what is the table name here? Employee info. So that is getting displayed here. Okay. So that I am filling up here. The table name is employee info, followed by I am going to fill all the columns which need to be populated. Okay. So the first one is the first foremost is the employee ID, which is a hidden object that I'm populating it. And obviously this particular information is already filled, but nothing wrong that you again fill it up. Nothing wrong in that. Okay. So the employee ID hidden long. Here the form object name is employee ID. Okay. And the form object type is hidden. And the postman object type. See here the postman is nothing but API. API object type is long. Okay. And API object name is employee. Okay, fine. Similarly, the text name, join date, previous CTC, and of course, there is a small challenges will be in the checkbox. Whenever the checkbox is need to be populated, two part has to be populated. Like DDL, the checkbox also will be having two part. That is, one is it will have a prefix called CPX and a hidden called HDCPX. Okay, that information is already specified here. To make it more clear, see each checkbox will have hidden, okay, and the hidden will have HDCPX as prefix, and the checkbox will have CBX as prefix. So this information already given for you to understand why we need to do this, right? Okay. So that's what we are doing. So both the part has to be filled, the hidden as well as the checkbox, both need to be filled. Both are going to be Boolean only because checkbox by default it's Boolean, and the information need to be filled. Okay. There is a small error here. Actually, the checkbox should be married only because married is a parameter. That is the postman object. Okay. Here also it should be married only. There is nothing called HT married. Okay. Married is a Boolean value. We are getting that married is information from the API. Okay. And there is nothing called HT and value. So it is nothing, it actually a bug. It has been fixed here. Okay. So it is going to be, both the information are going to be the same, but we are passing this information to the checkbox. Right. Okay. So the next part is address, mobile, and email ID, all this information. And all the text box should have a prefix called TXT. And the date should have a prefix called DT. And checkbox should have a prefix called CBX. And the hidden checkbox will have HTCPX. Okay. And similarly, DDL dropdown will have a prefix of DDL. And hidden will have no prefix. Just the DDL name will do. And all this information is done. So your main form, that is parent form, parent table information is being populated, right? The next comes is the table control table. So table control is true. Why? Because table control, any child table will need to update using the table control only because it will have multiple rows. So to enable the multiple rows, we need to have table control. Okay. So once we come to the table control, we have status table control. That's nothing but your table name, which is specified in the employee edit form. Okay. And similarly, delete row function, add row function, status description. Okay. Why we need to specify status description here? Let me explain that. Come down. So what is the first text box available? So this is very important. You have to have it in mind. What is the first text box available in the list? The first object available is student's, status ID, which is a hidden, which is not a text box, right? So what is the next available text box is status description, which is a text box, but obviously it is not the first one. It is the second one. So we are not bothered whether it is second one or third one. We need to identify a text box which can happen first occurrence, which occurs first time. Okay. So the status description is the first text box used in the sequence. So let me specify that here. Okay, that is the primary rule. That is a thumb rule. Okay, thumb rule to specify the text object add row function name. Okay, so this need to be specified here. Okay, fine. So what are the information? Table control name and delete row function name and add row function name and the first text object in the list. So here you should not confuse with the table structure or AP structure. We are only concerned about what are the columns available in the table. Out of that columns, what is the first text column available? That name has to be specified, nothing else, right? Okay. Once that is done, now you need to specify the table name, employee status. Why table name is employee status? That is specified here. Okay, fine. So we need to update this employee status is available here, and this information has to be taken and update to the in the Excel. Okay, that's what the table name specified here. And followed by status ID, status description, all these columns has to be similarly. The checkbox and the okay, there is a small difference between the checkbox between the main form and the table. In the main form, you have a prefix called CBX and the hidden will have HDCPX. But as per the table is concerned, there is no prefix for the checkbox and the hidden will have HT, just HT. That's it. That's the only difference between the checkbox between the form, main form and the table. That we should have it in mind. So accordingly, that we should work out. Okay, fine. So once this is done, the edit form is completed. You need to generate and copy and put it in the upload in the server. It should be working. Okay, fine. So as per the algorithm, both the Excel is being completed. Now the final one is save. How to save? So that we will be seeing in the next video. So both the Excel is ready and both the PHPs are ready. So obviously both the function are ready. Okay. Now okay, once both the files are updated, then we need to update those two information in the include file of the edit. Okay, so as you said, you need to copy the add include file and rename it as per the employee edit form. Okay, in the employee edit form, whatever the include file name you have specified, that name has to be renamed. The add include file should be renamed as per the employee edit form. So once it is renamed, you need to include both the PHPs into the include file. That is very important. Without that, the functions will not work. Okay. Once these both are included, then we are done. So the include file is ready. Okay. Now we need to copy this include file into the server. Once all PHP has to be generated and the include file to be copied into the server. The next left out is only the save procedure that we are going to see in the next video. Once that is done, our edit form is fully done. Okay. So let us see. We'll see in the next video.